that is a life or death intervention on a ticking clock.
But
Biggest
do you
loser.
look at
That's
me and
not
see a life or death
parenthood.
need for an intervention right now? Be honest.
Yeah,
You might.
I do.
Hey everyone, this is Matt Wills with Defining Ethos. So I really enjoyed this interaction between Jillian Michaels and this body positivity advocate because Jillian calls out a psychological pattern early on that leads to this type of behavior, and as the interaction unfolds, it turns out she nailed it. Now, Jillian's been working in this space with the extremes for a very long time, so she just may be able to see it, but there's a lot here, so let's watch.
You're externalizing shame, which is exactly what I don't agree with.
And you're saying that I've externalized it by
No.
carrying it on my body as well.
No, I'm saying when
That's a little bit of what you said earlier about the trauma is
hold on.
externalized.
Well, that would be utilizing your body as a container to manage emotions, if we're talking about in this particular instance. I'm talking about the shame that is already there, not externalizing it. I'm talking about appreciating the fact that, like, okay, this is arising from within me. Where is this coming from and why? If we, instead of going, oh, I think I'm ashamed because of what they did or what they told me or what they, now listen, people are absolutely at one point or another, very often victims. However, how we choose to respond to that injury, okay, at one time absolutely meant your psychological survival. It is how you survived that injury. The problem is it perpetuates and it no longer serves. But if we continue to repeat the pattern, it's actually called, has a name, it's called a repetition compulsion. And the goal, right, is I will master this. I will play this out. It's safer to play it out externally than where those feelings really belong, because that's painful. It's also safer because you don't have to suffer the primal loss of whatever was missing. So now, can I give you an example? I'm a shitty parent. We talked about this, but just follow me, right? I'm a shitty parent. I'm not there for you. Okay, instead of you saying, oh my God, my mom was never available, I didn't get what I needed, we then internalize that and go, it must be because I'm not good enough. Hence the sinner part, okay? Not because mommy is unavailable due to her own limitations. Instead, it gets internalized, and that is what becomes toxic shame. What is the primal injury that begot this emotion? And subsequently, how do I deal with it where it's appropriate? Meaning the right, like not Victoria's Secret, okay? The primal wound. And then in experiencing that loss, feeling those feelings, which really sucks and really hurts, which is why people have defense structures, coping mechanisms, so on and so forth. The way through that, you feel it, and then after you grieve it, after you explore it, then we can implement
A weight release.
No,
Oh, my
no,
trauma.
no, a perspective
I've released
shift.
it, and therefore
No.
then I will be thin.
a perspective
That's so obnoxious.
shift and a behavior change.
Yes, of course. I've been desperate my entire life to change my behaviors and shift my this and change my eating and buy Factor and go on this diet and sign up for the trainer and go to the gym and do the thing and pay thousands of dollars and get the Peloton and go to SoulCycle.
But that's all surface stuff, dude.
Sure, but the shame
Yes.
never came from myself because at 9 years old,
Yes.
my mother,
Yeah.
who was a translator for her mother, who was an immigrant, my mother was at the doctor with her mother.
Okay.
And a doctor, a professional man,
Okay.
I'm sure he was likely white, turned to her and said, ask your mom if she can have sex. Ask your mom, just tell your mom she's like a VW bug going up a hill with 9 people in it. A child.
I get it.
I mean, that's where it all comes from, right? Like, my mommy wound is only because of her own trauma.
Of course, it's
She's, of
multi-generational.
course, multi-generational. It gets into the epigenetics. It gets into how she raised me. Maybe you don't know you're on a diet till you're like 6. And then you go to your aunt's house, who's like, anything you want, right here. What do you want at the grocery store? We'll get you whatever. What did I want? I wanted Yoo-hoo like everybody else because I wasn't allowed to have Yoo-hoo.
Unpopular opinion, but I've honestly never understood why people like Yoo-hoo.
I wasn't allowed to have a ding dong. When I came home and I said, I want ding dongs in my lunch, You know what my mom bought me? Low-fat ding-dongs. And low-fat ding-dongs aren't wrapped in foil. So everybody knows they're fucking low. It's not a fucking ding. I want the foil. I want the foil. So she's acting out of her trauma. Now I'm just like, I didn't choose to be here. And now I'm like, literally this woman is crying as I get off the plane from the Yoo-hoo trip because I had gained so much weight. My grandparents had to buy me new clothes.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too. That's incredibly destructive to a child. So you have a mom that saw how obesity affected her mom, which informs how she set some boundaries for her own child. That's what parents do. Children explore and push boundaries where parents set them out of love. Then you have an aunt that says, guess what? There are no boundaries. So you go from a parent who instills discipline to one that feeds primal self-gratifications.
But I think that great aunt that offered me the Yoo-hoo and said, it's right here, honey, and you don't have to ask anybody when you want one, she knew. She knew I was being restricted at 6 years old. And that is why at 26, when you hear about body positivity and you're like, well, I've been on a diet for like 20 years, maybe there's more to life than trying to lose weight. That's what body positivity has given me.
So here she describes how her behaviors as an adult are psychologically rooted and still mirroring how she felt as a child, which is exactly what Jillian's been saying. She stunted her own long-term growth. And that's sad, because that's what immediate gratification does. Immediate gratification comes at the expense of long-term growth. And by her logic here, what's the point of trying to get sober if you're an alcoholic, or really trying to overcome any addictive behavior?
So do I still want, of course, to make the right choice every day for my nutrition? Yes. I mean, I can see there's like empathy. I also feel like when you were talking and you thought I was going to interrupt, you could like hear my thoughts through my eyes. And people like you only get to be people like you because you're a unicorn. You're a very special person to have gotten to the place that you've gotten in.
Notice the choice of wording there. You're a unicorn. That makes Jillian an unattainable standard. So the mistake this lady's making is that she can't perceive the opportunity in losing weight because she's comparing herself to Jillian. But that's not what Jillian's saying. She's not saying you should be like me. She's saying that we've got self-destructive patterns that we need to be aware of, and we need to do the things that are hard, whether that's working through something psychological from our childhood or it's simply a motivational issue. Having that grounding allows us to move away from self-destructive behaviors and towards something more healthy. Now, as goofy as this may sound, this concept is covered in an episode of Futurama where the professor invents this hat that gives the user awareness and intelligence. Then he gets a monkey to wear it, essentially taking something primal and giving it ability that's outside its comprehension. But the professor wants the monkey to be a genius like him, so he sets the hat to make him a genius. And this weighs heavy on the monkey as he is a primal being, and this genius is overwhelming. And that leads to this interaction.
Come on, Gunther, take the hat. No, the banana, the banana. Consider the philosophical and metaphysical ramifications of banana.
So you have these two ideas fighting. Be like me, it's better and it has more opportunity, or be your primal self, take the immediate gratification, it's easier and more comfortable. The point being, at the end of the episode, the monkey chooses the hat but has its settings more limited, essentially moving him away from his primal self and towards a more aware, better version of himself, but not being like the professor. And that's more what Jillian is advocating for here.
The first conversation, I think that's where we stay. The first conversation. That is the most important thing. I don't care about Serena Williams. I couldn't care.
Serena Williams, that's been
Mama, who gives a fuck?
because Jillian,
She's not
when you're
important to you.
fat.
Look
when
at
you
me.
no,
Look at me.
but when I am getting a
And
GLP-1 ad every time I open any app on my phone, watch the TV,
not
drive down the
advocating for that.
Sure, but imagine
not.
in my position, Jillian,
Yes.
I went 6 months where every waking hour,
Yes.
including the 3 a.m. pee, my mind
Yes.
said, should I go on a GLP-1? Should I go on a GLP-1? Should I go on a GLP-1?
Okay.
Would you call that food noise? What do you call that?
You tell me.
I call it fucked up. I
Okay,
call it
fucked up,
fucked
hold
up
on.
because I'm over here like I own a plus size fashion store. I look like the first fucking fat housewife of Beverly Hills. I'm fucking gorgeous. I got they, thems, he's, she's coming out of my ears.
listen
I
to
can
me.
fuck anybody on the street. Wants to tell me that I need to shrink myself.
not the
That there's
world,
a
though.
thin woman
You
within waiting to get out.
Can I say something?
I think I ate her.
Can I say something?
I don't think
Can
she's
I say
here.
something? Okay, back up, okay? Tell me how the world makes you feel.
I constantly feel like I have to be smaller.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be quieter. I have to be more submissive in my marriage. I have to shrink my body to fit on a plane.
Mm-hmm.
I have to have a bigger car because I need a little more room. I need to go to a special store, or actually even better,
How does
order
it
it
make you
online.
feel?
Makes me
I
feel
don't want
like
circumstances.
shit. Makes you feel worthless. It makes you feel like I can't go to the mall and spend my money.
It makes you feel how?
Devalued.
Okay, stop. When's the first time you felt that way?
When I was in ballet and the teacher picked an outfit I didn't like for the
How old?
recital. 8.
When was it when your mom put you on a diet? You said 6.
I mean, after that Yoo-hoo incident, it was a real.
Did that make you feel the way you're
Yoo-hoo
currently
incident.
describing?
No, I didn't know what was. At 6 years old, it's like I knew the ding dong was different because it didn't have the foil,
I'm
but I didn't
trying-
understand.
I know, because it becomes you, but unconsciously you do understand. And now, this pattern is playing out everywhere. It has a name. It's literally Freudian. It is called a repetition compulsion.
What about the genetics? Like when I look
Okay,
at photos, you said there were no fat children 100 years ago.
No.
I find that very strange.
There were
to
very
me.
few. And
Okay, there were fewer. There were
fact
fewer.
check me.
But there have always been fat people.
Hold on.
And there always will be. We will not be eradicated, and we're not going anywhere. Fat's where it's at. We've reclaimed the word. You don't have to do this anymore.
If you-
Society, it's the worst thing you can be. It's absolutely what every woman and
wait,
man,
hold on.
woman, and
So
child
hold on.
mostly.
So you're saying fat is the worst thing you can be. So is
That's
this
what
like?
our society projects.
But so you guys want
That's
to
what you're
reclaim-
yelling at people on
Wait, hold on.
the show to be like, don't you want more than to just be fat? It's
Why do you
what
think-
everyone is
hold-
so afraid of.
Why do you think they showed up? Because they didn't want to be there? You think that they showed up because they were forced?
No.
There were thousands of people. They showed up because they wanted change.
Because the world is telling us we have to change.
Listen to me. Stop making it about the world. What I think you're doing, okay, with the world, is reenacting this pattern that you have from being very young. And I don't think it's healthy for you, because it keeps you pretty angry all the time, it seems like.
Oh, you don't know me well. I'm not an angry person. I think in this context, it's harmful to say that the world doesn't have an impact on why people want to be on a show that's about weight loss.
I think that people want to be on a show that's about weight loss because they want to lose weight.
I think it's because everyone has told us we have to lose weight, that you are not good if you don't lose weight. If your friends are at a burger joint, you're the one getting the salad because you know you should restrain from the burger even though we're at a burger place because
Why should you restrain from the burger?
that is what the world has told me, that I have to make the good, healthy choice. Also, let's talk about the fact that no one here said that we don't owe anybody health. I don't owe anybody my health.
Do you want to be healthy?
While you might not owe your health to someone as like a means of control, your life is meaningful to someone who wants to spend as much time with you on this earth as possible. So for instance, last year, I worked with this woman and I walked into the office and she's asleep at her desk. And I wake her up and I asked her if she's all right. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm diabetic." And I said, "Well, do you happen to know what your insulin's at?" She's like, "Oh, I've never really checked it." I'm like, you never check your insulin. Like, that's something that you have to know all the time. Like, you got to be on top of this, or this is going to damage your health in short order. And I asked her, I said, "Has anyone ever helped you with this?" And she said, "Well, I used to live with my aunt. And my aunt used to check my blood sugar. She used to give me insulin, give me snacks, and just help me regulate and make sure that I'm okay." And so I said, I want you to think about this for a second, right? You have someone who loves you so much that she cared for you and regulated all the stuff for you because of that, right? And then you go out on your own and you completely neglect it and just letting that fall apart, right? How is your aunt supposed to feel about that? Can you imagine how she must feel that she cares about you more than you're willing to care about yourself, right? And a lot of times, people care for other people more than they care about themselves, and we can't be neglecting our health like that. Anyway, I thought Jillian did a great job. Don't neglect your health. And as always, thanks for watching.